Grow, Sell, and Retire is the podcast for the lazy overachiever. B.D. Dalton, author of True Gravity and Grow, Sell, and Retire, is here to give you his 25 years of secrets, tips, and systems to take your business to the next level. This is your chance to find out what is working in sales, marketing, and running your business. If you stop learning, you stop burning. Now, here's your host, BD, with today's GSR podcast.
Hey everybody, BD Dalton here, Grow, Sell, and Retire podcast. And this is my Retire and Inspire from my co-authors. This is all about retirement. So grow, sell, retire. Retire is the last one. Guess what? We need to grow as people. We need to sell our businesses. We need to sell more things. We need to sell ourselves. We need to make sure that we're moving forward. Today's interview is with Paul Wiggley. Paul Wiggley is a change manager. He helps people change themselves, work on themselves, bring out their best in what they do. He's practiced NLP with Tony Robbins. He's made sure that he's worked with the FCA. He's also worked with big energy companies. He's worked with individuals for a huge amount of time. He's been doing the same thing for 29 years. He is a young man at heart, at soul. This is going to be my energetic interview about retiring, about not being retiring, on the Grow, Sell, and Retire podcast, taking you to your next level and making sure that you are the lazy overachiever. Here's my interview with Paul Wiggley from Retire and Inspire. So, Paul, what gets you excited about helping people think about retirement?
I just love helping people, Bart. And first of all, thanks very much for inviting me to join you on this podcast.
Thank you for coming on.
Yeah, it's a real nice opportunity. Thank you. I just love helping people make the most of their lives generally. And particularly, I've noticed a lot of people in the corporate world are so-called successful, but they're not too happy. And I love getting people back to themselves and really what they want to do, and leading a healthy, wealthy, and happy life.
Isn't that kind of crazy that there's some of these people that we think are so successful, and they are financially, is that they're lonely or trapped, or trapped by their own success.
Indeed, and some of that, they're really good at what they do, and they make loads of money, and all the people around them make loads of money. So that's their kind of world, and they don't realise that to be happy you don't need much at all, really. They've got some of them have got lovely homes, lovely partners, maybe children in private schools. They've got lovely cars and boats and planes, and some of them, and yet deep down they're not really happy. So, for me, it's all about a balance. Need a balance.
And when you go, so in your chapter in the book, kind of walk us through just kind of the theme that you walk through there. And I'm sure it kind of leads back into what you were just talking about, but the theme in the book, Retire and Inspire. What's your chapter encompass? Yeah,
it's really about health, wealth, and happiness. So, and in fact, you can think about them in any order, but I prefer to sort of start with happiness, because I think I wrote in the book, it's like, if I wake up in the morning, well, firstly, that's a big tick. I've woken up. I'm still alive, I've got a roof over my head, another tick.
Yep.
Yeah, I've got plenty of food and liquid nourishment for myself for the day. That's another tick. If the sun's shining, big tick. That's a bonus. I'm already happy, so I choose to be happy every day.
And so you're choosing to be happy. So you're putting yourself in a mindset. Do you have a morning routine?
What I do, but I don't do huge amounts, because I have an intention all the time to be like this. And it's not, it's not just straightforward. It's not just easy. You have to sort of make it happen. But I just think, well, sometimes I wake up and feel pretty down, and I think, well, what's that? And then I start to think what I'm grateful for. When I wake up in the morning, I think what I'm grateful for. And as I say, if I've woken up, that's a great start. There's people who've been in my lives that didn't make it as far as I did, So yeah. I just want to make the most of every day. And I have an intention to be healthy. So once I'm on some shout and up and about, I get a healthy breakfast going. And I've normally already thought about my day and the intentions for the day of what I'm going to be doing. how I make it want to go well, think about successful outcomes for those things, and just set myself up. And, all of us, we all get, concerns, worries about stuff. But if I'm concerned about something, I see if I can do something about it. If I can't do anything about it, I kind of let it go, because you can only influence so much, But if I'm worried about something, the best thing I know is to get into action. When people are depressed, it's because they're not doing anything about their situation. So if you get up, get going, do something about it, and make a difference.
Have you ever read 18 Minutes by Peter Bregman? Have you seen that book?
I don't think I have, actually.
It's actually really interesting. So coming back to what you're saying, and I completely agree with you, the action is that Bregman talks about 5 minutes in the morning, kind of what you're talking about, which is intention and making sure that you wake up in you don't always wake up in a good mood, but how do you put yourself back in a good mood? But I think that so that's 5 minutes. And then every hour throughout your working day, on the hour, you essentially set yourself an alarm to snap yourself back out of whatever funk you're in, get back on track, but also just that alarm or that buzz or whatever else it is just says, hey, wake up, what were you doing? Get back out of your funk and let's move forward again. So you get 8 minutes of that and then 5 minutes to decompress at the end of the day. So it's...
Oh, yeah, I like that. I'll tell you what, one of the things I got is I went on a Tony Robbins event. Now, there's some people not so sure about Tony Robbins. I really loved it. And one of the things Tony is brilliant at is changing people's state.
Yep.
And he taught
all the snapping, the snapping and the coming back into it. Great.
Yeah, and just getting out, there's easy ways, if you know them, there's easy ways to snap yourself out of a bad mood and stuff and get yourself back feeling upbeat. There's breathing exercises. I practice yoga. 4 or 5 times a week.
Wow. Very good. Being limber is definite part of being healthy, isn't it? Because I think sometimes when you can't stretch and you can't move around, you feel bad, and that just makes you grumpier. And that makes you we're living longer. We're living longer. We got to stay healthy.
Exactly. I have an intention of living as long as I can, as healthy as I can. And I've never seen anybody who's running or swimming or joking around feeling down. If they're up and about. When I coach people, I often do coaching walk, because I like people open up more when they're on a walk, and they're also feeling a bit more upbeat. Their breathing is up. So a lot of people who are stressed only breathe very high up in their chest. And if you get people walking and laughing, they're already breathing throughout their body. And I know when I've run events, when I've got groups of people to work with, the first thing I always do is to get them doing a little breathing exercise, partly because it calms me down and gets me really completely de-stressed. And usually when I suggest doing it, 1 or 2 people laugh. Well, actually, the fact that they've laughed, they're already relaxing. So, because they think, 1 or 2 of them think it's a bit awkward, and why are we doing this? Maybe in a corporate environment, why are we doing a breathing exercise? And, I don't know about this, but they're already laughing, so they've already started breathing better. And it's just another way of changing their state and getting them more upbeat.
And so that's cool. So we've got intention, you've got your breathing, and you're right. And I think it's funny because I've been to Anthony Robbins' Unleash the Power Within. And, some people think it's hocus pocus, but I think that anything that we talk about, whether it's the book that we're in, whether it's the stuff that we coach people through, most of it are basic human ideas that people just aren't doing. And they're not applying it to their lives. And that's why they need those coaches, because, Tiger Woods has 7 coaches. And, one for speech, one for finances, one for his golf swing, one for his putting. And he's a professional. So why aren't more people that want to live longer and have better lives getting more people to specialize in helping them get out of their own way? It's a weird way of not admitting that, that we're all human.
Well, I see people, exactly, but I see people in the corporate life, and they're sitting at desks for hours and hours on end. One of the things for me is, like, I think you mentioned it earlier, but every hour doing something different. For me, if I'm working, sitting at the laptop or something, every 20 minutes, I just get up and stretch or go and get a tea. I don't drink any caffeine at all. I tend to drink either water or herb tea. I start my day first thing in the morning with some nice freshly squeezed lemon and some grated ginger in it. It's a nice lift. It's very refreshing. It's a nice lift. People think lemon is actually quite tart and sour, but actually, because I don't add sugar to anything, it actually tastes quite sweet to me. Mm-hmm. Maybe an acquired taste, and it may take some time to do, but it's these things that I do every day. And it's not that I actually like them. I've grown to like them. In fact, when I was a kid, when I was first introduced to normal tea or tea with milk or coffee, I didn't really like it to start with, but I thought, well, everyone else is doing it. I suppose this is what you do when you grow up. This is what you drink. Same with beer. I do have the odd beer now and again now, and I do have the odd wine, but it's like when I first got onto beer, I didn't really like it. And I thought, well, yeah. Then when I look back, I think, well, why? Why do people do these things? It's because everyone else around them is doing them. But when you meet people who are inspired and inspire me, the routines they have, it's pretty amazing what they do. So it just takes a little bit of practice, a little bit of doing. But I don't say you must do it, you should do it when I'm coaching people. I say, well, just what do you choose? Choose something, choose an exercise that you like, choose food that you like that's healthier food, and put balance into your life. And get outdoors too. Being outdoors, I love. I'm fortunate enough to belong to a health club and a spa, and they've got an outdoor heated pool, and I swim there 3 times a week outdoors, regardless of what the weather is. I've been there in the snow, been there in the dark. I've been there in the evenings. The mist, the steam comes off. It's like swimming through the monsters of the Blue Lagoon. It's just fun, and just being outdoors in the fresh air and swimming. And then afterwards, I get in the jacuzzi, go for somewhere warm, steam, a sauna, and it sets me up. It also gives me quiet time for my mind to calm down. And what I love is I meet interesting people there. I often have a chat with somebody that I've never met before, and they're into all kinds of things, the people I meet, and they're really, it's just a learning. All day is learning.
And I think part of what I think if somebody else has just listened to this and never met you, they've never really taken any coaching on board, they're just kind of feeling in a frump. It's purpose, it's intention, like you said, and it's having a plan to just do something that's not. It will become part of your regular life, but currently it's not part of your regular life, but you enjoy it, or it gives you that solace or time away from your thoughts. And focus.
Yeah, it can start, but just when I'm coaching people, a lot of them say, for example, they say, I haven't got time to go to the gym to exercise. And I say, okay, well, where do you work? Some of them, they say, well, I live here in Woking, where I live. And I say, well, how do you get up to London? And they say, well, I drive to the station. So how far do you live from the station? Well, it's probably just under a mile. I said, well, why don't you walk? By the time you've driven to the station car park, walked up the station car park, which is pretty big car park, you could have walked half the way to the station. And when you get the other end in London, so you need to take the train, of course, but when you get the other end, where do you work in London? Well, I said, well,
get off one station earlier.
Could you walk it? Get off a station earlier? I used to have fun. I always, when I go to London, I like kind of running up the escalators.
Yeah.
Just to sort of use it as a little power walk. And then I used to have a game where I'd watch people in front of me that were walking fast and have a game to see if I could catch them up.
Yeah.
And pull them up, then I'd look for the next one and so on. But if you do that throughout your day, you can easily get an hour's exercise by doing nothing more than just slightly changing your routine.
And those little spots, like Darren Hardy's one of my favorites, that with the compound effect is that you just those little bits that one less candy bar a week. You've now at the end of the time you've saved yourself 4 meals in a year, and it's just one candy bar, and you've also saved money. So those little things, that one flight of steps, so people don't think that they can actually make it up an entire, flight of big steps up an escalator, or 3 of them. Just do one, or make sure you're walking on the left side instead of standing on the right.
Exactly. And when I'm coaching people, I just advise them to start with just 5 minutes, doing something 5 minutes for yourself, like in the morning. Just say to yourself, give yourself 5 minutes. Get up 5 minutes earlier. That's all you need to start it. The first step is the most difficult. If you take that first step one day and you think, and actually quite often what happens, people do it for 5 minutes and they're enjoying it so much, they do it for 10 minutes. and they forget that they're doing it for 10 minutes. And then gradually, it just gradually builds up. And if it's something you do and you don't like it, well, choose something else. It's all about choice. Don't force yourself to do stuff you don't like. And people say to me, oh, yeah, I don't want to go to the gym. I don't like being in the gym. I don't like working out on machines. Well, don't do that. Find something. Go walking. Go dancing. I go to ballroom and Latin dance lessons on a Sunday evening for an hour. You're moving, you're having a bit of a laugh. I'm not great at it, but I enjoy it. Just a bit of fun. And you meet a few people. Just do something that you like. It might be painting. Just paint for 10 minutes, or draw, or write a poem. Whatever it is you love doing, just for yourself. Totally for yourself. Just for 5 or 10 minutes each day.
So spend 5 minutes. Spend 5 minutes on yourself. Have intentions. Make sure you're walking and breathing. Not just breathing to sustain your life, but breathing in a proper manner.
Breathing deeply. If you know anything about yoga, you can do deep breathing, which all it really means is just breathing right down into the bottom of your lungs, right down deep, so you completely fill your lungs, completely. Most people, we only use generally about a third of our lungs most of the time. But when and you don't have to have a big cardio workout. It's just several breaths deep breathing. Tony Robbins, you probably know about it. Tony Robbins has a special breathing, a very fast through the nostril breathing, kind of wake you up in like moments. It's really quite powerful.
Yeah, no, it's really good. If people really want to be lazy, and I sometimes I call myself the lazy overachiever, but it's laziness. The Fitbits or similar are great just to snap you out. They're very Pavlovian. But there's a breathing app on there that you can do 2 minutes of resting breathing that'll walk you through. It'll buzz you every hour to make sure you get up and take your 250 steps, get you away from the desk. You can make it train you to be the hamster that you need to be to get you out of your little mindset for a while and get you in.
Exactly. And even if you're sitting at a desk, I do yoga stretches when I'm sitting at my desk or sitting on the train. I can do all kinds of things without, it doesn't need, you don't need any special equipment. You just need yourself and the intention to do it.
So if you're looking at, so what are your big goals for the year? I noticed that you've got Arriving at Me. Is that, what's that shaping up to be like, your book?
Okay. So, I'm in the process of writing the upcoming book. It's called Arriving at Me. And this is because I've spent a lot of time in the corporate world. It's the 7 keys for escaping the corporate world to do what you love. So this is aimed at these so-called successful people we were talking about in corporate life that seem to have everything but don't really have anything because they're not emotionally wealthy. So it's aimed at them to help them get out of corporate life into something that they want to do, where they may not end up as multimillionaires or even millionaires, but emotionally, they'll be millionaires because they'll be doing something that they love. They'll be spending more time with their family or their friends or whatever it is they want to do. And they'll be leading a life that they really love. So it's Arriving at Me, meaning get back to yourself. What are you? Who are you? I mean, in the Retire Inspire, I wrote about, thinking about what does retirement mean for you? I mean, for me, I felt a bit like a rebel writing in this book because I've never had the conventional approach to what some people might call retirement. When I retire, I'll be dead. That's the day.
No, it makes sense. Boots on, clothes up. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It'll be retire, expire. Yes. So, but for me, it's about choice. And I was reasonably young when I chose. I thought, well, I'm going to choose what I do with my life as best as I can. And it doesn't mean that it's all gone the right way. It means like in any situation, you have a choice. Even if you get made redundant from a role, it's like some people become a victim and think, oh my God, what am I going to do now? I've been made redundant. You haven't been made redundant. Your role might have been. And in fact, if you hated what you were doing anyway, you probably conspired to get yourself made redundant or get that role made redundant, because even though you thought nobody noticed what you were like, other people noticed what you were like. You didn't think you were giving anything away, but people do give things away. And for anybody that I coach people all the time, so I'm always observing how people are. And people say to me, Paul, you're a pretty intuitive guy actually, because a lot of guys aren't. But I think, I didn't realise I was, but I think maybe I am. It's just that when you have something that you do, you don't always appreciate that you're good at it. So, but I notice when people are not feeling great. If I'm sitting in an airport when a plane's been delayed and I'm watching people, I look at a distance of conversations going, and I can tell if that conversation is a positive one or a negative one. And how people are getting on or they're not getting on. I can look at somebody's stance and the way they walk, and I think they're not happy. They're just not happy. And I remember once I had a young guy. He's a graduate, and he couldn't get a job and couldn't figure out. He's a really bright guy, couldn't get a job. And when I first met him, he came walking across the town square to where we were going to have coffee. And he was just walking. I could tell just by the way he was walking. He was just hunched over. His whole body language was saying, I don't feel great, and it's so noticing those things and noticing it in yourself. People who aren't feeling great, that you can hear it in their voice. We communicate not just with words. It's the tone of voice. It's how you show up. If you show up bright and breezy, that's how you are. If you show up and you've had a bad day, and then you start telling everybody else about your bad day, and try, the down starts to spread around the people you're around. It's like, please don't moan about it. Either do something about it if you're in control of it, or let it go. The more you can look around it, the energy is going to go down. It's like if you, in the Unleash the Power Within with Tony Robbins, there's the first day you walk on the hot fire.
Yes.
And it's like, I was really scared. I thought, am I really going to do this? And actually part of what got me through it was that you buddy up with somebody, and the lady that I was buddy with was so scared. I kind of helped her, but it gave me a role to help her. And I thought, I can't let her down. so I kind of did it. But, that is a metaphor. If you walk on fire, it's a metaphor for if you can do that, you can do anything in your life. And not knowing that I've done that, it means that anything that comes to me, I think, well, it can't be much worse than that. I've had a few things in my life where I've lost people close to me that have been worse than that. But actually, if you can walk on fire, you can do anything. So never let anybody or anything stop you having a go at what you think you can do.
So what's goals for the year? I know you're always intentional, but do you have any goals for the year?
Well, with my book arriving at me to finish that, get that out and published, I already have a publisher. I've already got people ready to edit it and proofread it, edit it, and get it formatted. I've got a publisher, so get that book out to help more people. And my main intention is to enjoy my life. I've got some of my family coming over from Canada this summer. Haven't seen them for a while, so that's lovely. And all getting together with all my cousins that are over here now. So that's one of my intentions, to enjoy that. And in my life, Bart, my intention is to help as many people as I can. And just a point on that is that I can only help people well if I'm 100% myself. And that's why people might think it's selfish, but I take a lot of time for myself to make sure I'm okay, because if I'm 100%, I can give 100%.
You need to feel abundance. You need to feel full up, or else, like you said,
I need to feel full. If I'm not full, I can't really help somebody fully. And I've actually postponed coaching if I felt really bad, and I've just been honest and said, look, I'm really not feeling up to do my best with you today. Please, could we just reschedule? And people I'm coaching are normally fine with that. I've only had to do it very few times, but I would absolutely do that. If I'm not feeling up to it, just don't do it. And I think the other important thing I learned in life is be able to feel okay, and be able to say no to things that you don't want to do. When I'm asked if I want to do something or anything in life that I have a choice about, I kind of feel it and think, is this something I really want to do? What will it be like after I've done it? And if I get a good feeling, I do it. Like when you invited me to join you, this would be fun. I've never done this before, but this would be fun. Let's give it a go. And it felt right. But if somebody had asked me to do something and I thought, not so sure about that, then I say, no, I think I'll leave it, thanks.
So is that the gut check? Is that,
It's the gut check. It's the gut check. And it's funny, people say, what is this thing about intuition? But your gut is actually, you feel things inside your body based on your experience of the past. It's based on your experience of the past. And most of the time, your body knows what it's experienced throughout your life. And your body can tell you, even though you might not in your head realize it, that this isn't a good thing to do for you.
Yeah.
And trust it. And I never used to, funny enough, I went on an intuition course once and I thought, this is crazy. But I'm going to go because I didn't really understand what intuition was. And I went on this course for a day and it was brilliant. And there was a point we were all asked to chat with the other participants, walk around, have little conversations. And then the guy said, okay, now turn to the person next to you and just tell them what's coming up for you. And what was coming up for me was something I thought would help the person I'd met about 3 or 4 people ago. And he said, no, just say it to the person next to you. I thought, oh, that's a shame because I think it would be really good for that other person. Anyway, I shared what I had with this other person. And I just had this vision of very calm, a pond with one of those Japanese sort of Zen ponds with a lovely boulder in the middle. Just really calm place. And she said to me, wow, Paul, that is just what I need right now. That is exactly what I need. And it was, and then I sort of got the intuition. It's like you'll make of something whatever it is that you need. So you're finding whatever happens, if you trust your intuition will find what's necessary for you. If you just allow it, you don't need to do anything. Just allow it to come through. And it might sound crazy for people that have never sort of taken a moment to do that, but I trust it more and more and more. So, my intuition said for this podcast, yeah, go for it. Sounds like fun. Bart's got a great thing going here. So, and it's a great way to share Retire, Inspire, the book, to help people think about what does retirement mean for you and what are your intentions for retirement? What do you want to happen in the rest of your life? If you want to stay in that corporate job that you think you're successful at, all that money, but you never have time to see your partner, your kids, or that lovely house that you've got, then stay where you are. But if you don't, then maybe this is the time to make a decision to do something different.
It's amazing. So be intentional. I think that's usually we end on a on a note of, okay, if people tuned in at the last minute and they were only listening to this part and we wanted them to rewind to the beginning with this one amazing thing. I just think that the stuff that we've come through here, and I've kind of encapsulated them for you, for some of the stuff we talked about. Be grateful. Come through and be grateful, be intentional. If you don't make a choice, that is making a choice. Practice your breathing and practice saying no. Anything else that you would say would be a top tip? Because those are fun.
So you can choose to be healthy.
Mm-hmm.
Focus on, you can choose to be happy. Focus on staying healthy. And I plan to remain wealthy. And the wealth is more than just financial wealth, it's the emotional wealth. We didn't talk much about financial wealth, but I'm sure someone else will cover that.
Yeah, no, it's great. This has been amazing, Paul. So thank you so much, Paul Wiggley. And we will make sure, if you haven't already picked up the book, Retire, Inspire 1, go on to Amazon and grab it. It's out there for us, and be on the lookout for Arriving at Me by Paul Wiggley. Thank you very much for coming on the Grow, Sell, and Retire podcast.
Thanks so much, Bart. Really enjoyed it.
Thanks for joining us on Grow, Sell, and Retire. For more information, tools, or to book one of our team members to work with your team, business, or to speak at your event or conference, visit bartdaltonconsulting.com or email contact@bartdaltonconsulting.com. Buy the book True Gravity on Amazon. If you want to work for the rest of your life, that is your business. If you don't, that is ours.